Yeah, muffin talk. Muffin talk. Muffin talks. Bringing healing to those who need it most.
Sometimes, I share about it all the time, but then sometimes I'm like, I don't want to talk about it. It's very strange.
Right.
But 2018, August of 2018, I was diagnosed with invasive ductal carcinoma stage 2. And I had 6 rounds of chemotherapy. I had a double mastectomy with reconstruction, hence um, and follow-up treatment that lasted about a year, and then I still go once a month for a shot. It all feels like a blur. It feels like it was just yesterday, but I'm thankful to be on this side of things. How about you?
Oh, wow. In 2018 as well, January of 2018, I was diagnosed with large B-cell lymphoma, which is a blood cancer. It was stage 4 at the time that it was finally found. I did 6 rounds of chemo as well. I also ended up having to have an emergency surgery. I'm not sure if it was from my tumors or from the chemo, but I had holes in my stomach.
Wow.
So I ended up having to have an emergency surgery to repair the holes in my stomach. I was supposed to do more treatment after that, but my doctor felt like I had been through enough.
Yeah.
So she ended the chemo at that point in time. And I guess just like you, I share my story. And then sometimes I feel like I shouldn't. I don't know. Sometimes I feel like maybe people might think, oh, maybe she's looking for sympathy if I tell my story. So sometimes I just,
I think
keep
you
it
just
to
have
myself.
to kind of feel your way through it, because sometimes sometimes it feels appropriate to talk about and sometimes it's not. But sometimes like it's the only thing you can think about. And it's like,
Yeah.
okay, let me just get this out. So I completely understand.
Yeah, definitely. So I guess we have some questions?
Yeah.
All right, let me go first. I'll ask you a question. How did you find out about your diagnosis?
I had been feeling a lump, but I thought it was just related to like maybe when my cycle would come on.
Okay.
'Cause when that time of the month comes and your body is just kind of doing all kind of wacky things. And I didn't think anything of it, and I just kind of went on. Because I didn't think breast cancer or anything because it doesn't run in my family, and I was healthy. I thought I was good. But I continued to notice it, and that thing that we call something, i.e. the Lord, is like, you need to go get it checked out. And it was so scary because I can have faith all day, but I knew something wasn't not right. I just had that feeling. It wasn't that I was like not having faith. Sometimes faith is knowing what you don't want to know, but you still got to face it anyway. Right. So I went to the doctor, and I could tell by her interactions with me that it was something.
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
I went to her, and she's like, and I was like, oh, Lord. I didn't say that in my mind. I said something else. But I was just like, what in the world? And, it was just her urgency of getting me to the next doctor, like immediately, to get this checked out. And everybody was just, and by the time I had all of my biopsies and everything, I had been waiting for that call. And I had a performance to do this particular day. So I had my makeup done and everything, knowing that I was waiting. And at the time, only my boyfriend and I at the time knew that this was even going on or even a possibility. And I was telling myself that no matter what the doctor said, that, I just had to make up my mind I was going to be okay. That sounds like cliche, but I honestly, that's the only way I could just hold it together. So I got the call, my makeup was all good and everything, and he's like, I'm sorry to tell you, and I'm like, he told me what it was, and I was just like, okay. what do I need to do now? So that's how it happened. I found out that day, in that moment. And after he told me, I did cry, but it was almost like I wasn't relieved that I had
Oh
cancer.
my God.
Oh,
I was
you
gonna
understand?
say that.
But it was like the suspense of like, do I have or do I not? It's like, okay, now I know. It's
What
on.
next?
Let's go.
Right.
That's what I was thinking. So I dried my eyes, and I don't know how I put one foot in front of the other. I don't know how I made it to that place and was singing and smiling around my family, who probably would have just shut that whole thing down if I would have told them what was
Yeah.
going on. But I smiled around them. They had no clue. And I thank God for that moment, because it really set me up for how I was going to go. It wasn't that I was going to pretend, but it was just, it set me up to just keep going, because you really just want to shrink. Like, Lord, why?
Yeah,
you know,
definitely.
so, yeah, how about yourself? Like,
I would say the latter part, or it probably was going on for quite some time, but probably October, November of 2017, I started having severe pains in my stomach. I would be dizzy. I couldn't hold any food down. Just random, just weird stuff. So at that point, I would say around Thanksgiving, I started to lose weight because I refused to eat. Because when I would eat, it was pain. It was just nothing you could do to subside the pain. At night, this is how crazy it was. At night, I felt like I needed to press my back against something hard. So I would literally fall asleep with my back against the couch, pressing my back against the couch, because that's how much pain I was in. You know, just taking pain medication and drinking Alka-Seltzer constantly. So I'd gone to my PCP. They did an x-ray, you know. Oh, we don't know what's wrong. You know, we can't see anything wrong. Oh yeah, you have lost a lot of weight. Because I would say between November and January, when I finally was diagnosed at the end of January, I probably lost about 20, 30 pounds because I just stopped eating. I refused to eat because I was like, if I eat, it's going to be pain.
right.
December, leading into January, you know, I was crying, pleading, begging, had gone to the emergency room several times. You know, just pleading and begging, somebody do something to help me. I'm not exaggerating, I'm in pain. So went to a gastroenterologist. They didn't do a CT. They said, hey, just drink this stuff, the stuff that you drink when you get a colonoscopy. Drink this, you'll be better. Come back in 3 months for a colonoscopy. That's what they said. So I left, walked away feeling defeated because I said something else is wrong. Because by that time, I was looking online. So I had already diagnosed myself.
Really?
I diagnosed myself with pancreatic cancer
Wow.
because I had an aunt that passed away from pancreatic cancer. So I was like, that's what it is. That's what it's got to be.
Wow.
So I would say, yeah, that was at the end of January. My mom had started coming every weekend because I couldn't function. I was still going to work every day, but I was like barely functioning. So she started driving up her 2 hours every weekend to help because my husband was working 2 jobs. So she would help with the kids. So that weekend, she was like, you're going back to the emergency room because this makes no sense. Something is very wrong. So in the middle of the night, we go to the emergency room. My husband was at work. My kids, you know, my oldest is 16 now. So they were fine, you know, for a few hours. So we went to the emergency room and that doctor listened and she said, oh, no, tonight you're getting a CT.
So many layers to that. Like, why don't they listen?
Don't listen. So at that point, you know, she gave me the CT scan. I sent my mother home. I said, you know, just go home. I'll be fine here by myself. It's fine. Just go. Because I don't want the kids to wake up and nobody's there. So then when the doctor came in, like you said, the look on her face.
Right.
It was just the look on her face. And she said, you can't go home. She said, Tiffany, you can't go home. And I said, why? And she said, you have a lot of tumors. She said, they're everywhere. And I said, I knew. And she said, what do you mean you knew? I said, I've been looking at my symptoms online. I said, I knew I had cancer, just don't know what kind. I said, it's probably pancreatic cancer. She said, it could be.
Wow.
So she said, we're going to admit you.
Wow.
And she said, let me call your husband. Let me call your mother. I said, no, because my husband was at work. He worked with people with disabilities. I said, if you call him, he's going to leave work and leave those people in their homes by themselves. He can't do that.
Right.
I said, so it's okay. He'll be off work in a little while. I'll call my mother. Everything is fine. And like you said, at that point, it was kind of like I felt relieved in a way.
Yeah, it's a weird thing. It's kind of like it takes the suspicion away. Like,
Right.
what is wrong with me? And,
Right.
and now you know. Like, listening to you, I'm like so many nerves, because just hearing you go into the doctor and something is wrong, and then them just dismissing you. There's so many layers to that. For me, listening to you, like as a Black woman, saying to the doctor something ain't right. What's up? And they telling you to go home. Like, that's not right. And it's just, oh my God, that ain't what we're here for, honey. But honey, that just makes me.
After I was admitted, someone from the gastro clinic called me, and I in my mind, I don't think she came in my room.
Right.
I think she called me on the phone after they admitted me, because most likely the emergency room doctor said, hey, she was just with you guys 2 days ago.
Right.
And she said, I'm sorry. That's what she said to me.
That's a lot. Let me
definitely
ask you a question.
Okay.
What was or what has been the toughest thing about your journey?
Oh, wow. That's a hard question, I would say, because, like we both said, once, the diagnosis was given, I was, kind of relieved. And people might think that's crazy, but, I was in the hospital, I was admitted.
Right.
Pain medicine was flowing.
Right.
And I wasn't in pain anymore, for the moment.
Right.
The pain, was gone. But I guess I would say the most difficult part about the journey, watching my husband and my kids.
Yeah.
And how it was affecting them.
Yeah.
Because honestly, I was like, I'm good, I was like, I'm good. Let's just get rid of this. Let's get rid of it. Because it was insane, when they did the biopsy and, did the scope. I had a tumor in my chest that was as big as a box of tissue.
Wow.
The tumors were in my stomach. They were everywhere.
Wow.
They were everywhere, because lymphoma is a blood cancer.
Right.
So it was just going everywhere. So, that was the most difficult part, was watching my husband and my children. Even today, when my children recall things that happened, they bring it up. They remember stuff. Or if they hear me on the phone with the doctor, or if they, if I'm not feeling well, what's wrong, Mom? You okay? Are you okay? What's wrong?
Yeah.
So I would say that's the most difficult part.
Yeah.
That is.
Yeah, I can relate to that part of watching, because you're like, I want to be here with you all. Let me hold on to this so I can,
Right.
I will say for myself, I'm finding, I thought I knew the most difficult part, but for me, I don't know how to explain it, but maybe you can help me. Like, I'm finding that one of the most difficult parts is after treatment.
Oh.
Because I'm going to tell you, you got 6 rounds of chemo. Okay, I can count down. And then I know I have surgery on a certain day. I know it's going to take this amount of time for recovery. I know it's going to do this. but nobody can tell you when you're going to heal in there.
Oh, yeah.
And nobody's going to be able to tell you when you are emotionally going to be well, because I present this way. This is my disposition. I'm funny. Girl, I am crazy. I love to laugh. That is just who I am, and I don't ever want that to change. But I have found myself, why can't I get out of the bed?
Oh my God.
Why are my legs feeling like they weigh 3,000 tons?
Oh my God.
That is depression. What is that? Like, I'm not a depressed person, but I've had to lean into understanding, I don't like these aches and pains. I don't like that I don't know how to explain it, but like when I look in the mirror, like I'm not ashamed of my body or anything.
Right.
But what I realized is that I disassociated myself with my body. And maybe that was a coping mechanism. But now it's like, I feel like after all those treatments, I feel like I'm waking up.
Okay.
And I feel like I've been asleep, or not sleep, but I feel like maybe God had me like this, blinders, and then took the blinders off, and it's like, what in the world just happened to me? Where in the who?
Right.
What? I gotta do what? I gotta take what? Girl, where my things go?
Right.
So that's how I feel, and so now I'm reassociating myself with myself, and that has been a journey. Like, even to touch my breast, to feel like they are mine, because I don't have nipples, and so they don't feel like it just doesn't feel like anything. But I've had to claim myself again, and that's taken time. Like, I felt like it wasn't necessarily about losing breast, but it was just, it's not natural to not be able to feel. You know what I mean? So like all the tissue was gone.
Right.
So then it's
you don't
like
have any feeling.
No. So it looks good, but it's like, I lay on my stomach and I can't ever not know that I had this done. So so this part of the journey, to me, I'm finding is longer lasting, and it is causing me to do some really serious digging, because I was like, we come out of that, I feel like a beast. Like, girl, see what I just did.
Right.
But then it's like, I am still human. Like, okay, you just did all that, but you are human, and these feelings that are coming, you need to work them out. So, honey, therapy is, I finally found a therapist that I've been procrastinating on that. But I did find a therapist, and that is set up to continue. So I'm trying to work that part out.
Right.
So, yeah.
And it's funny you say what you said about after, because during, like, going to chemo, I always had a smile on my face. I wear my little leggings and my Uggs and had my head wrap on, because I did try a wig one time.
Oh, you didn't like it? Oh, me neither. I didn't like it.
I went to the little boutique at the hospital. She put the wig on me. I walk out, and my husband said, Gloria. That's what he called me. That was the wig's name.
Oh.
The wig's name was Gloria. Yeah, the wig's name. He was like, who are you?
Girl, that is hilarious.
He was like, Gloria, get out of my car.
I was like, girl, first of all, the wigs, and no offense to the wigs in the hospital, but honey, sometimes they don't be for us now.
She tried.
Okay.
She tried.
But
she did. She tried.
So it's funny you said that, because I don't even know what's in these cars, so we talk about it. I don't even want to go there yet, but I didn't really. I just felt more comfortable with my bald. Like, it's just like, if I'm gonna be just, this is what I got going on. Like, that's just another thing. And my scalp was sensitive, was your scalp?
Yes.
So it felt very sensitive.
It hurt, like it was,
like porcupine, like, ow.
When you touched it, it just felt funny.
So I just rather just like, look, here I am. Yes, I have.
I wore my little beanies, and I wore hair wraps.
Yeah. So, okay, I'm not alone in that. Okay.
All right. What was the biggest adjustment for you after treatment? And we kind of went touched on that a little bit.
So, yeah, like, the adjustment is mental. It's mental. It is mental. And it is something that I am really, I kind of touched on a little bit about the body. and knowing what the route that I chose. Some people don't choose the route. I know for me, after the treatments that I had, I was given several different routes to choose as how I would, the prevention type of steps.
Okay.
I chose a very aggressive one.
Okay.
So what that does for my body is I'm in menopause. I'm 38 years old. I'm in menopause.
Right.
Chemically induced menopause is a beast. That's why I came about that sweater. It is a beast, and when a woman is going through menopause naturally, you have these things to help you and everything.
Right.
But I'm not saying that I can't do anything, but for me, it's like, why would I go? I'm taking this medicine for a reason. Like, why would I get something to help I'm just figuring all out.
Right.
So it's like that part, like, I don't like having these aches and pains. I hate it. I don't like feeling like, it's just a lot of stuff I gotta work through, and I can't ignore it. I don't want to be issues facing, it's like,
Right.
dating. I'm not dating right now, and I'm fine with that. But is that, I'm kind of person where I can just be like, fine forever. Like,
Right.
I'm good, but am I?
Right.
Is that fear,
Right.
of presenting myself as this way to someone? So it's all mental, honey, and we could talk all day about that for me. But
definitely.
Yeah. So what about for you?
Yeah, because I didn't find myself feeling depressed until after.
Yeah, what's that about?
When I had to have that emergency surgery, it was like that just knocked the wind out of me. And then there were some other things in regards to, insurance and stuff like that.
Girl.
So, I mean, I don't know. It was like that surgery did it. And once they did the emergency surgery, here I am, with my stomach cut open. So I had to deal with healing from that. So I started back to the not eating again because it hurt to eat. So I literally, for at least 2 months, would drink, not Ensure, but the muscle milk. I maybe drank 2 a day. That's it. Because I didn't want to be in pain. So, yeah, that's when the depression started. And I would just lay in the bed all day long. Well, not necessarily all day, but at least till noon, 1 o'clock. And my husband would say, what do you want to eat? You going to get up?
Yeah. I understand.
And I was just like, I don't know. And all I could do was cry and say, I don't understand. Like, I don't know why this is happening to me now. That's what I said. Why is this happening to me now as opposed to when I was going through chemo?
Right.
Because when I was going through chemo, it was a routine. Mark that calendar.
Right.
Okay, I'm here today. All right, Tiffany, we'll see you again in 2-3 weeks, however the cycles ran. So yeah, I was fine then. I walked in there smiling. They were like, how are you smiling with everything that you've been through and everything that you have facing you? Because when I would have chemo, the week before it was time for my chemo, I would have to get chemo in my spine.
What?
Oh, yeah. I would have to go to the hospital, go to, I can't remember, what department it was, but, they would put me like on the x-ray table so that they could, find a spot. And I would have to lay there still so that they could.
No port or anything, just a needle?
Not with that. I had a port for my chemo.
Okay.
But for the spinal tap chemo,
wow.
And before they started sending me to, the x-ray department to get it done, they expected me to sit on the side of the bed and arch my back and wait for them to do that, put that needle in. So I did that once. The second time, I tried, and she just kept saying, "Oh, you gotta roll your back more, roll it more."
You're like, girl,
and
if you
I'm
don't hit it.
it's like the anticipation of somebody, getting ready to stick that needle in your back.
Yeah.
So yeah, I had to do that every time I had chemo. The week before, I would have to go get it put in my spine, and then the next week go for my regular treatment.
Oh my.
And be in there for hours.
Oh my goodness.
Hours on end.
I can't can't imagine.
Because like with your cancer, like you said, you have options that you could take
Afterwards.
Okay. And they didn't really, there weren't really options, with mine, with blood cancer. They had to attack it,
Right.
Right away. So it was just depending on, they say, whether it's a single hit or a double hit. So if it was a double hit, I would have had to literally stay in the hospital for my treatments, like for a couple of days. But because mine was a single hit, I was able to go home, and come back and do my treatments. So yeah, that was afterwards. Wow. Afterwards, and I did go and talk to a therapist a few times, but it was just somebody at the hospital. I couldn't relate. So I mean, at this point, I probably still need to.
Yes, sister. Let's get on.
I still need to.
Yeah, because there's things, it's intangibles that I can't express to. I can talk. I haven't known you, but the things that we're talking about, like you hear me in a different way, and I feel like a therapist can hear us, the things that we're not saying, like our body language, or just unbiased. I think it's my turn, right?
I don't know.
It's my turn. I think it's my turn. Yeah, it's my turn. You got 2 cards. Okay. How did your diagnosis affect your children and relationship?
Okay. My kids, like I mentioned before, they were really scared. It really, really had a toll on them. My husband, I feel like he kind of, I don't know, he has a sense of humor. So, he tries to make light of everything. But it was hard for him to watch me. Yeah. So, when I would go to chemo, he would, if I needed, or if he could, he would drop me off, pick me up or whatever. But actually having to sit there and watch it, he couldn't do that. Yeah, he definitely couldn't do that. But I feel like it made our, bond stronger. Definitely.
Yeah, I understand. For me, my same with my son. He's 14 now, but the same type of, just he's watching, trying to make sure you're okay. The relationship I was in, my boyfriend at the time, he was awesome. I think this is very rough on a relationship. Oh, yeah. And this is a new relationship I was in. So imagine. Wow. But he was amazing. We're not together now, but we are still good friends, and I'll love him forever, because if he just was Superman in general. But it can be difficult to bounce from caretaker back to girlfriend or boyfriend, back to caretaker, that whole thing. It's a little, from my perspective, I think it was just a little maybe difficult to balance the two. Right. Because even while you're sick, I'm still a mother. I'm still a woman. Don't treat me like about to wither away. Right. So, when you are in a relationship like boyfriend, girlfriend, it's not always, you haven't said to death do us part yet. You know what I mean? Exactly. Like, so it can be difficult, but he was awesome, but it was hard for us.
Wow.
In the end.
If you've been moved by our work and would like to help fuel us on our journey, please visit us at muffintalks.com to support.